Boo! Did I scare you? No? Okay, sorry about that. I was just playing her. Horror is a genre of media made to scare the ever-loving piss out of you. Horror movies and horror in general are probably the biggest things that would give me the nightmares and my bed a golden rain shower as a kid. In the eyes of a child, these things were scary. I don't ever want to see Green Goblin pulling up and blowing up my house. You can tell me the most bogus and most bullshit story ever as a child and I'll be shivering down my spine watching my bedroom door like Jason is gonna bust it down. But that was when I was a kid though. Now I'm gonna be the one busting into Jason. I think horror is one of the greatest genres of media out there. It's up there with rom-coms and Breaking Bad. It tries its best to take over the human fear and abuses it, giving you a painful but thrilling experience. Like eating spicy food. And a concept like that is fire. The most memorable movies and medias are those that make your jaw drop and your heart fall in love. And what's more memorable than getting a heart attack while watching horror movies at midnight? And horror media executed that idea really well. We had iconic movies like Friday the 13th, It, Saw, and that one UK TV show that made people piss their pants and someone actually kills himself because of it. Maybe that's too much actually. And those were only movies and TV shows. The type of media where you'd just sit and watch, but a more genius idea came when they tried to combine video games and horror into one, giving you a boots on the ground, hands-on experience of being a character in a horror story. And honestly, the invention of horror games is the best invention ever made, second to anime. The thrill and the absolute fear you feel when you play as a child, trying to protect yourself from the hallucinations of animatronics your father instilled upon you, and knowing the fate of the character is in your hands is just perfect. Now this sort of thing doesn't only apply to horror games. I think games in general just have a better way and better potential at immersing the player into the story than TVs and movies. When done right, of course. Knowing the main character is who you're controlling and the fate of the characters around you and the story itself, it creates more of a personal connection with the characters rather than sitting on your ass for an hour eating pizza. Not only about the characters, I don't think any action movie can recreate the feeling of fighting the final boss of the game, and then you reach the final phase and your health drops into practically one-shot territory with barely any healing left, and you've got to lock in now. This battle will be your last, and even if you're going down, you are going down fighting. And then you just gotta get one shot at it. Yeah. Action games aside, I feel like the potential of horror and horror games aren't being fully utilized, or should I say, they stopped utilizing them. I feel like when I check out any horror media nowadays, I just have the expectation that they're just gonna suck. I remember a while ago, I watched The Nun with a couple of my buds, and man did it suck. I didn't get scared at all in the movie, and even if I did get scared, it would just be caused by some cheap gotcha jump scare. If that's what horror is now, the genre should just be renamed to surprise, because what horror is there to be found when the big jig is just a big scary face on the screen? And this problem plagues horror games too. When you compare games like Amnesia, Slenderman, early FNAF, there's an essence and ambiance that you won't find in games like Poppy's Playtime. Like, you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be scared of a guy literally called Huggy Wuggy? Don't even get me started on the Garden of Banban series. It's honestly saddening to see the fall of horror now turning to some jump scare ridden surprise gotcha moment kids game. Now just because some examples of the horror game is bad, that doesn't mean the entire genre as a whole is bad. There's actually one subgenre for horror called psychological horror. Psychological horror is horror what horror should be. It chills you down to your spine, giving you an uncomfortable and intense sense of fear and impending danger with no quick release in the form of a jump scare. These films or games typically would build up tension and doesn't do anything with it to make you keep asking, is there something coming? Giving the entire experience a tense and scary feeling that will stick with you even after you're finished with it. Films like Hereditary barely had any jump scares but managed to pull off the horror part amazingly. And while not really being a horror game, the the myhouse.wad mod for Doom, when I played through it, I'd have a huge and creeping feeling every second of it. Even though I have watched Power Packs and Pyrocynical's video on it, basically knowing most of what's coming, I still got creeped out. There wasn't any jump scares in the mod, well, except for those 2 times, but other than that, there wasn't any gotcha moments, and it was still scary. That is what good horror is, and my wish is that all of horror is even somewhat like that. In retrospect, horror is pretty hit or miss. It can either be not scary or scary, and there's nothing in between. Shitty horror won't scare you at all. Good horror is something that would scare you, and excellent horror is something that would scare you and will leave you thinking about it for days on end. And I can only hope horror would stop being milked for all it's worth. But alas, no matter how shit the game is or the film is, people would just eat that shit up. And that's pretty much it for the video. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. I know it's kind of a stretch, but I'm confident. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Drop some feedback in the comments if you can. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.